to invest money into football, you need to have the money generated to invest. You can't be a charity case asking for money from FIFA, asking for money from your federal government, who, by the way, is not supposed to interfere with your football, but yet you want to collect money from them. And then you then say you're an independent organization that's supposed to be developing players and helping them grow. You can't be. In a country where you have 200 million, 70% of the population is under 30. So you have a lot of young men that are capable of playing the game. You're not developing them. You're failing because you don't have the funds. And why don't you have the funds? Because you don't generate funds. That's part of the fundamental issue with the NFF. And they asked the government for money. I don't know if you heard, but the last game they played, they said the players were preparing in Benin for the last game. And supposedly the deputy governor showed up to kick the ball around because he used to be a footballer. I'm like, yeah, So if you now end up drawing with Sierra Leone, and you had that sort of environment, what does that tell you? Like, would it surprise you? You can't. And then the field, God, the field. Did you guys see the field? The field was horrendous. I've seen high schools in the United States that have better fields. And this is for an AFCON qualifier. So, and all these players you brought for our team all play for high quality, top-notch teams at the highest leagues in the world. How are they going to function on that sort of field to give you the football that you need to win?
Boma, so, let me interject with that and just continue on what you were saying there. From that field perspective, man, it's not that there is no fields in Nigeria. In fact, we've all been watching, we saw the 2018 World Cup qualifiers. The stadium in Ekiyor is ready to host Super Eagles matches. In fact, the Super Eagles produced so many sparkling results in that Ekiyor stadium that, short of playing in Abuja or Lagos, anybody with any common sense would say, let's take our players to Ekiyor. The players feel comfortable there. The fans embrace them there. The field is decent enough. To me, it's still not of the highest quality, but it's the best field we have in Nigeria. And yet, ever since the World Cup qualifiers, where they've been playing their matches at, they've taken them to one sandy patch they have in Asaba, another one in Benin. And why? What's the reason for this? Politics, right? Amaju Pinnick is playing politics with the Super Eagles. He's taking them on what we call the tour, Nigerian tour, which is not under normal circumstances. There's nothing wrong with going to different places to show your national team to the nation. But the standard has to be that the fields must pass a minimum standard for players of the caliber. And I'm not just going to blame the NFF alone. I think CAF has a role to play in this too. CAF cannot allow sanctioned matches to be played in the standards of field that we saw in Sierra Leone. I remember that morning when I was living here in the United States. I remember that morning when I woke up to stream that match. Tears began rolling from my eyes. I didn't care about the match score. In fact, whether the Eagles won, they lost, it was irrelevant to me. It was, I just hope to God we don't have anybody that ends up being seriously injured and they can't play football for the rest of this season.
It's really sad that even at this time and age, right, in 2021, that we're still, on this subject of not having good football administrators. It's sad because it only, if anything, it shows, it exposes us as a nation that doesn't learn from its past, particularly as to do with football administration. We know that Nigeria as a country shouldn't have a funding problem to start with, especially considering how dearly we hold football as a sport. That's the one thing that unites the whole country, regardless of where you're from. But again, the sad country is that we still, year in, year out, over the successive years, we still have people at the helm of football administration that don't know the first thing about how to administer football. Because the thing that we're talking about is largely, it's still on the basis of political patronage. People just put people that, they put their people in positions, not necessarily because they merit it, but basically it's a man-no-man affair.